second thing I want to talk to you about is about generosity. And this is, I think, what perked the interest to really talk about, right, was the Giving University and talk about generosity. And so generosity, here's another completely upside down thing. We think we have to give, and we give out of this obligation, and we give. Giving is an opportunity. It's the most incredible opportunity. And this is the only place in the Bible where God says, test me in this, see if I won't respond. It's the only place. He doesn't say to, alcoholics or people that struggle with drug addiction or sex addiction or anything like that, go into the bar and hang out and test me in that, you've been healed. He doesn't say that. He's the only place in the Bible where he says, test me in this. So I'm going to tell you a couple stories. So we launched into the Giving University, and I'll kind of read off what we do. It's an 8-week course, okay? And when you hear this idea, it's insane. It's not my idea. I was like, in charismatic terms, I got a download, right? And so that download looks like this. So we teach an 8-week course. Here's what we're teaching. Defining generosity, finding your passion. What's your passion? So how you figure out your passion is, if you could fix anything, what would you fix? And then go do that. That's your passion. So people that live dispassionate or lack passion in their life will really not do much. People that are passionate, get things done. Heidi Baker. I mean, they say Heidi Baker has evangelized more people than Billy Graham or anybody around the earth. Okay, and she does it with signs and wonders, and she does it with helping the poor. So finding your passion, investigating nonprofit organizations. So we teach people, and I brought some brochures and some class times if you guys want to engage in this. Remember, we won't ask you for money, and we won't ask you, well, after the course, did you find yourself to be, a really generous person, or are you just a selfish bastard? We're not going to ask that question. We're not going to take a poll. We're not going to publish any information. Nothing. Okay? We take nothing back. Okay? So investigating nonprofits. So how do we know if someone's doing something that they say they're doing? You have to go to know. So you have to investigate. You have to learn about what they're doing. So we teach people how to do that. And then overcoming objections of generosity. Well, I don't have much money. I don't know how to give. Really. I'm poor. I've got a lot of debt. I've got a lot of credit card debt. I'm kind of, and so we talk about those issues, and then freeing up resources. So if you don't, if you're spending everything, in an inappropriate way, we talk about that. We help you with that process, and then we talk about why people give. And this is an interactive class. This isn't like an online course or something like that. You have to, interact with us, okay? Sometimes I teach classes. I teach a lot at Mike Hudgens Church Vineyard. He's really embraced, and we've sent people all over the world with his church. In fact, his youth group, we took them to Mozambique and to South Africa, and when the kids came back, so there was 20 kids and 12 adults. And when the kids came back, 3 of them are now in the mission field because they figured it out. They're under 18. They figured it out, what they wanted to do. So we do this. So everyone that joins the class gets $1,000. Okay? You have to find something local to do in your community with that $1,000. And I'll just warn you right now, it can't be what you're doing at the church. It has to be outside of the church. Outside of the things you know, it has to be something new. Because we learn from the new things that people are doing. It's incredible. It's powerful. We learned in 2005 when we started, this one girl said, hey, I'm really passionate about water. It's like, oh, tell us about water. And so she did all this research. And she said 30,000 people die every day of waterborne illnesses. And if we help people with wells and get them situated in their countries. Okay, so 30,000 people die every day from waterborne illnesses. That's a lot of people, okay, if you do the math. So we said, so what are you going to do? And she said, well, I found this play set that when they drill a well, they put this play set on, and it pumps water as all the kids are playing, so that all the kids in the village get to pump water into the tank, and then the village we're like, you're kidding me. I would have never found that. I'm running an electrical company. I got 520 employees. I'm not finding that. But the Giving University students find all kinds of cool stuff, and then we fund those. So every student gets, and by the way, students, so you have to be 13. We do have a kids class, but it's a different format. You have to be 13 or almost dead. So a student isn't a young person, okay? It's anybody. And the reason why, I had a lady, 72-year-old lady, go through the course, and then she traveled to Taiwan. And when she came back, she said, I had no idea. I lived my whole life. And I go, well, that's okay, because we're investing into students. And so if I put money behind a 13-year-old, what do I get out of them every week? Little to nothing, because they don't have any earning power. But when you're 72, you have a house, you can designate funds, you've got money, you've got retirement money, you can start doing that. And we find all kinds of interesting stories. So this one guy I ran into, he's a cool guy, pastor, and he says, Steve, he says, I know you got this Giving University thing. And I was like, yeah? He goes, well, I'm really struggling. I go, why? He goes, well, I don't give. I'm like, wait, what happened? And he goes, well, I got into debt. I'm a pastor. I'm in Orange County. I'm trying to play, make myself look, cool, rich and cool. And I said, well, just start giving. He goes, well, I got a lot of debt. I go, just give a little. And he goes, I said, can you give $50? And he looks at me and he goes, like $50. And he was totally filled with so much shame. And I said, see what you just did? You discounted giving $50. Let me give you the math. If 200 million people in America gave $50, how much is that? It's $10 billion. See, the power of generosity is in the small numbers, not in the big numbers, okay? I can only give so much. It's not incumbent. Look, this is not Joe Biden here talking. You're not paying your fair share. Everyone has to engage. And when I got saved, I made a salary on electrical, and Chuck Smith talked about tithing and about giving, and he said, this is one of the fundamentals. Here's how it goes. You wake up, you breathe, eat some food, and you give money. And so I just practiced that. So, if you're going to assign something to somebody, who do you assign it to? You assign it to the person that's faithful with what they've had. So faithful with faithful with the small things leads to the larger things, okay? And remember, I'm not a rounding error to who I'd like to, go for. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm doing the same thing, just different levels. And you will do different things. You can't compare yourself. Comparing is death, okay? Just simply, so I tell the pastor, I said, start, give him $50. I go, he goes, well, what's that going to do? And I go, well, see what God does. He'll return more and press down and give you more and more and more. And then, the stakes will get higher, but it doesn't matter because he's going to bless you. So let me give you a story. So 2020 hits, pandemic, people are losing their businesses, people are losing their jobs. It's horrible out there. And I'm praying and I said, Jesus, what do you want me to do? He goes, I want you to double your giving. And I was like, okay. So I made an announcement that we're going to double our giving. Now, this is Malachi. He's going to press down, jump on it, pour more over. You're going to walk away and it's going to be, falling off. So I said, okay, Lord, we'll do that. And I was in a real estate transaction that I was doing. And so 3 weeks from the time he told me to do that, I closed this transaction and I looked at the amount of money that I made on the transaction, and it was exactly what God told me to double. In 3 weeks. And I was like, that's it, Lord. I'm mad. I'm going to triple it now, okay? Because you can't outgive God. This is one thing that is so flipped over in our community. It's so flipped over. 2.79% of Christians give properly. What if 100% of the Christians did? So that's my mission, is to teach people about generosity. So you get your $1,000, you pitch your pitch before the teacher and all the students, and you tell them, this is what I'm passionate about, this is what I'd like to see changed, and this is the organization I researched, and here's how they rank based on the research that I did. And we give them a ranking sheet. It's all really, cool and simple. And then everybody gets to hear what everybody's doing, and guess what's happening? Everybody's going, wow, I never heard of that, and so then it expands. And so after that, that's when you actually graduate and become an ambassador for Giving University. Once you're an ambassador, we send you someplace in the world. We pay, because you're our ambassador, we pay for all the flights, food, everything. Okay? Flights, food, everything. The only thing we don't pay for is if you buy a set of bongos in the jungle someplace. We don't pay for that. But we pay for everything, and we give teams of 8 to 15 people. We give them $50,000, and we go fund what you see. Tell us what you see. Come back and describe it, and then we go through about different aspects and teach them what they learn. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. In fact, one of our new taglines we have, because our mission statement is teach, promote, and demonstrate generosity, right? But it's too good to be true, because whose inception was this? This was God's inception. He just said, imagine being on the ark. It's like, whose idea was this? Do you think this thing will float? And then it's floating around, and then they land back on land, and they go, wow, this thing floats. Too good to be true. We're alive. So it sounds too good to be true, but I want to invite all of you to join the Giving University. If you work for Power Plus, every one of our GU graduates, you graduate after you do your trip, because the trip is the crux of the whole issue. And somebody might say, well, why is the trip the most important thing, not the education? Here's why. I don't know if you know this, but I'm going to let you in on a secret. You were born in Disneyland, okay? That's where you were born. So here's my Disneyland talk. Imagine if your mom was pregnant at the time, and you got and you're in the womb, and her water breaks in Disneyland. They take you, rush you over to the medical center, and you are born in Disneyland. Disneyland has a special pass for people that are born in Disneyland. They get to live in Disneyland and their whole family for the rest of their life, okay? You guys didn't know this, did you? So now you're 14 years old, and you're walking around Disneyland eating popcorn and, going and hearing the Dixieland band and going on rides and stuff. And you're living, and some little gangbanger kid walks in and he goes, "Why are you dressed like that?" He goes, "Oh, I live in Santa Ana." What's the deal? He goes, "Oh, it's gangland, people die." No, it can't be. It can't be. It can't be. This is where, this is what your life is like outside of Disneyland. No, it's not. 7 billion people live on such a small amount of money. Between 50 cents and $1 a day, okay? They got nothing. If you're poor, let's say you're homeless, you have way more, you have 1,000 times more in terms of assets that you can grab being impoverished here in the United States. You've got EBIT cards, you've got cell phones, you've got everything, tents, people, crazy people like, the Vineyard Ridgecrest going around helping people, You've got so much resource. You go to a third world country, and we only send people to third world countries. So we've been to 25 countries, and we send people all around. The worst of the worst places to go. So it's not a vacation, just in case even though we're paying, but what we're paying our ambassadors to do, not what we're paying for, is for them to go research things, because we can't do it all. We need hundreds and hundreds of people to deploy the capital that God keeps pouring into Power Plus and pouring into the Giving University, and we need people to help us. So that's the Giving University. Questions? What? Yeah, he'll get you. We'll put it on the website, and if you get enough people, we might even come out and teach it live. But the way we teach it is we've got a big screen. We have a system that we kind of borrowed from a Google Hangout system that has boxes all around it with everyone's pictures, and then we can broadcast and teach it. It's a live class. You have to do all 8 classes. You can't miss anything, or you have to make them up. And so that's the story. So incredible. Crazy. And all of this, let me just end with this one little piece. I don't know what you're called to do, but God wants to tell you what you're called to do. He does. I mean, I was just a poor kid, and at the point of, thinking that what do you think God wants you to do? Maybe set that aside, because it took me a while to set that aside. The pastor thing. I wanted to be a pastor. I want to be a pastor. I want to be a pastor. And he had something so much bigger for me than having a church and a flock. And, it's different. We're influencing things all over. And let me tell you about that. Let me back up to the evangelist. Imagine, because this is the way the kingdom works, that person that left that track in the phone booth, They're on my ledger. They get credit for everything. Think about that, right? They get credit for everything. Blows my mind.
Oh, what an amazing story, Stephen. Thank you for coming and sharing your story and what God is doing with you in Giving University. I'm super humbled and thankful that you would come and share that and be with us today. It's an honor. I pray that we all can get an opportunity to explore what that great generosity can do in our lives. So thank you again. Thank you, Dr. Rob, Pastor Carolyn, for being here again. Garrett, thank you guys. We're going to take a quick break, coffee break or something like that. And in 10 minutes, we're going to start with our amazing pastors panel. So our pastors, a group of our pastors are going to do a series of teachings and encouragements in our next session. And so we'll take just a quick break to do that. After those sessions, then we'll be breaking for lunch and a little pool activity and hang out at the house after. So we'll take a quick break and then we'll be back in here. We'll see in just a minute.